Resignation sometimes shouldn't be an option for you to consider. Big shout out to my viewer Paul who sent me this game. He played with white pieces here, and let's just dive deep into it and see what happened here. So he starts by playing d4. It was a bullet game, but I just want to demonstrate that sometimes, some things might happen out of nowhere, and this will look like an absolutely like 1,000 elo game, but at the same time it will teach you a lot of things as well, because I saw it, I was like, what happened here? So he plays knight f3. Let's not dive deep into it. And also, white didn't make a single blunder in this game. So just watch what happens. So knight c6, I'm not sure why computer thinks it's a blunder, but apparently here this knight could walk to b5, and then there are a lot of problems with c7 pawn, because now if queen goes back to d8, there is bishop f4 and d6, knight d5, and unfortunately that's also a tactic to consider. Paul didn't see it throughout the game, but if he watches this video, that's what could have happened with your opponent here. And of course, bishop d6 is not an option here, and other moves don't make sense as well. So instead, knight f3 was played. Also not a bad move. At some point this queen, went too far early in the opening, and then at some point, knight d5 jumps, bishop g5 ideas, and you never know what might happen. So now knight d4 is also kind of an idea. So Paul first plays e3, he doesn't want to rush with anything, knight e7, again. So here I would honestly play knight d4, get rid of this bishop, and then develop bishop on d3. But alright, bishop d3, not a bad move, g6, e4, h6. So the whole idea of going bishop d3, e4, you first play e3 and then you play e4, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So castle, bishop g4, h3, takes, and we got to the endgame. Both players have 51 seconds on the clock. And slightly worse endgame for white pieces, because here black just can use their knights, knight d5, potentially take f4 square. I would honestly play something like g5 here if I was black, and then maybe knight d5, then knight g6 and knight f4. Just jump to f4, threaten f3 pawn. Then I would say it's very favorable for black pieces. But they play knight d4, which is not a bad move as well, because they are trying to attack f3 pawn, bishop e3 was played. Finally, first mistake, and I would say it's a blunder, even though chess.com doesn't think so, because now you just simply give up a pawn on f3, while you could just go king g2, protect it, have almost no problems. After king g2, yeah, there is knight g6, knight is going to h4, but you can just simply this. If you don't like this, still, knight will have to go to g6, and you should be fine. But bishop e3, you just give up a pawn on e3, king g2, knight f5. And guys, as I go, you can always send me the games in the comment section if you want me to analyze some of your viewers' game. I'll be happy. I can create videos every single week if we have super cool games. Just put the links in the comment section, or maybe put the whole move order, so I can check, choose the best games and analyze them in future episodes. Bishop c5, d takes c5, f4, takes, and at this point, black are just completely fine. They're threatening d3. This is a huge weakness. They're up a pawn. A lot of problems for white. They gotta protect everything. Knight b5 was played, and now a simple a6, which was played in the game, basically gives black 2 pawns advantage, as they will take on d3. And now rook d2 is being threatened, and black are simply starting to collect the whole queen side, all the pawns basically. Rook d1 takes, knight c6, knight b4, a3, knight d5, and we got to the following endgame where Paul had 34 seconds versus 35 seconds for black pieces. And of course now king walks to e4, walks closer to the center, f5, king e7, b4, takes, g6. So g6 is a terrible move. So according to computer, the best move is to play rook b5, and just rook b4 is a threat. And if rook b2 is happening, protecting this, there is simple c5 or a5 and take pawn on b4 and create, triple pass pawns on queen side. And of course, that's a huge win for black. But now g6 was played, and you might say, what's happening here? The problem is that after takes, rook f6, rook b5, takes, after rook b4, this king is able to get to f5 square, and now white are creating enough counterplay for a draw to create, you know, some attacking checkmating patterns here, because now rook g7 is coming, e6 pawn will come to e6 or e7, and you know, it might become very dangerous for black pieces. f6 was played instead, and now after king e6 it turns out that black will take e5, they will eventually take b4, f6, rook c2, rook e5, king f4, king f6, rook d2, rook f5, king g4, rook d5, rook e2, rook b5, and now pawn on b4 is a huge weakness as well. And now you might say, what happened here? Black are up whole 3 seconds on the clock, as they have 20 seconds while black have 17. And yeah, what about what happened next is insane thing. c5, rook b8, c4, h4, c3, h5, g5, and guys, by how the game went, can you imagine, you know, this pawn survived on h5, and you know, only rook will move here for the rest of the game, of course with the help of king f3, c1 queen, king e2, queen c3, king d1, rook b2, guys. And if here white get rid of their rook on f8, it's actually a stalemate. Look, so when you're up a lot of material, what I always suggest people is to just try to play every single move with check. Just, you know, give this check, then, you know, give this check, and then basically, I know, go this way, maybe this check, and then with this check. What this guy did instead is he played queen c3 and then rook b2. I mean, if he wanted to, you know, continue doing this, play rook b1 check, and then rook b2, and then maybe even go this way and go from this side. But after rook b2, he was like, he had 11 seconds in the clock. That's, guys, that's too much time for this position. You know, sometimes I'm playing like 50 moves in 10 seconds. This guy plays rook b2, and now this king can't move. Only this rook. And what started happening is crazy, crazy. Rook f7. King can't take because it's a stalemate. King e6, rook e7. But guys, some of you don't know the result yet. But what if I tell you that white actually ended up winning this game? White ended up winning this freaking chess game. So king d6, rook d7, king c6, rook c7, king b6, just grab the freaking rook here, agreed to a draw. He plays, alright, now white got the queen, rook b1, king c2, a5. Here Paul for some reason didn't take the rook on d1 because, you know, 5 seconds on the clock, right? Rook d3, a4. I mean, black just don't even care at this point. They're like, alright, I gotta move my pieces. King b5. Now again, king b1 was possible. You know, at this point, the evaluation bar was like down, up, down, up, down, up. So, and king b1 was finally. So, how many moves Paul didn't take it? Let's just calculate. So, king c2, 1 move, 2 moves, 3 moves, 4 moves. So, it took Paul 4 moves to grab the rook on b1. And after a2, king a2, king c4, rook g6, b5, rook g5, white ended up winning the game as black lost on time. Guys, I know you can roast Paul in the comment section below, and again, send me your games, some of the craziest games you have, and I'll, you know, choose best, we'll analyze them. I know you'll have something for me. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you in the next videos. Bye bye.